hello and welcome TikTok. Do 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 do. Hello and welcome. Hi. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Say hello. Hello, hello. I'm back. Say hello. Let me know where you're coming in from. It's Laurie Marie. Hello. I will tell you on the next video. But let me just say, like, I'm impressed with how well you guys have done. Like, it's incredible. And I can't wait to share it with you. But tonight is for live intuitive guidance. So if you have questions, let me know. And if you have questions, pop them in the Q&A chat box. So that way I can kind of have some order to all of this. So say hello. Let me know where you're coming in from. Thank you for joining. I apologize if you missed me last Friday. I had a photo shoot that ended up going a lot longer than I planned, so I didn't make it on Friday, but normally I will be here weekdays, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Central Time. So I'm so excited to be here with you now. And please, like I said, if you have questions or if you're needing guidance or clarity on anything, please let me know. Now's the time to ask. I'm here for you. So pop it in the questions below. It's been really exciting to see. So I just dropped a new video about, it's called like the name game. And so for those of you who haven't done it yet, I don't want to give a spoiler. So I'm not going to tell you just yet who Dawn is. However, it's been really cool to see how many of you are getting so many good things. So many of you are spot on. So it's exciting to see. I was curious how you guys would, if you'd like that one, and it seems to be a good one. So I'll do some more of those if you enjoyed them. So definitely let me know. Let's see here. You know what? Until we get some questions, I'm going to go to some of the questions that are actually on my grid here. So say hello. Let me know where you're coming in from. Let me know if you have any questions. Put them in the Q&A if you have questions, or if you're looking for any guidance or support in your life or anything that's going on right now, let me know. Until we get questions, I'm just going to go with some of the questions that are that people put in the Q&A on my feed. So let's see. Oh, this would be a good one. So how do I know if it's intuition or just something I want in my inner self? Hello, welcome. So how do you, okay, so I think what I'm getting off of that one is, how do you know the difference between intuition and your ego? So here's the thing. It's like, you can ask the question, like, is this for my highest good? Is this for the highest good of all? Knowing there's nothing wrong with having desires and having, dreams and wanting to bring those dreams to life. But the ego is more of like selfish pursuits in the name of searching for significance, feeling like you're enough, coming from a place of like feeling like you don't have enough, where intuition is more calm and it's more guided, it's more gentle, it's much more, it comes with ease. It's not something you have to think about or guess or figure out. So a lot of times the ego, it can feel more chaotic or like, how do I best describe it? Chaotic or fear-based, where intuition is much more calm and loving, and it comes a lot easier. It just comes with ease. So let's see if we got some questions in the Q&A box here. Be sure to pop your question, if you have one, in the Q&A box. Okay. Let me see here. And then I'll be able to ask, or will I marry and have kids? What is your actual name? Issa, am I saying this right? Isis? So here's the thing. I think it's, you know, I feel like it's, yes, it's absolutely possible for you. I think the thing to really kind of ask yourself is, why do I want it? Right? So a lot of times we kind of fall into these like default patterns or destinies because we feel like that's what everybody else did, so we need to do that. So I think first it's important to get clear on what your intention is and why you want those things, right? And then it's not about settling for what, you know, for just finding a partner just to be able to get married or have kids. It's about truly being clear and giving yourself the love that you're desiring to yourself, because you become an energetic match and your partner will then be that match for you, that will love you the way that you love you, that will be an equal to you, that won't look at you or put you down or be something that, or want you to be something different than you are. So yes, all those things are possible for you. Yes, I see that. And right now it's important for you to pour into you so that you become an energetic match. Like attracts like. So if you think about the partners you've been attracting, what is missing from what you're wanting out of a relationship, right? Get really clear on what's missing and give yourself that, and you will then be met with and matched with what you're actually desiring. I hope that was helpful. Hello, say hello, welcome. I'm so excited to see all of you. Let's see. What's going on with my Sagittarius ex and his karmi? Do you mean karma? I'm guessing you mean karma. Let me see. I like to see what is going on with my Sagittarius ex and his karma? I think that's what you meant. Did you mean karma? I'm just gonna roll with that, okay? Let me see. I feel like he's got a... I feel like he's more of a young soul. I feel like you're more of an old soul. And I feel like you two are like missing each other. You're not like... You're just not on the same level. And not that it's like a better than or worse than, but I feel like it's more like... he just doesn't know how to be what you want him to be. And that's okay. It's where he's at in his journey. I feel like it's more of... yeah, he's just a newer soul, and so he's not as aware, he's not as conscious, he's not as... I feel like he hasn't really done a lot of the deep and personal work to really even understand what's happening or what's, you know, like what's triggering him or what patterns are at play or what stories are at play. And so I feel like it's not just like a past lives karmic thing. I feel like it's more just he's a young soul and he doesn't know any better. That's not to excuse bad behavior, but it's just to help you understand that, like, again, that like attracts like, or that match, right? It's like sometimes we're matched up with people and it doesn't work out to teach us a lesson, to help us understand what we want more of. Like, relationships are there to help us heal, to help us get really clear on what we do want versus what we don't want, right? You can look at your past relationships or exes and look at like what was great, what did you love about that person or that experience, and then what wasn't so great, and what can you take and learn from that to take forward into your future relationships. And then for you to really, again, get clear for yourself, like, what is it I want, to bring to a relationship? What is it I want to work on for myself? And what do I want to do as far as pouring into me, right? How can I love into me so I am then very trusting of myself and very clear on what I want. And I'll know that I can discern between, when I am met with a new relationship or a new potential relationship, I am very clear that I am confident, I trust myself, and I know like how to navigate this. A lot of times in relationships, we don't know how to navigate. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to put an end to codependent patterns. A lot of times we're living out and playing out relationships based on the love we didn't get as a child. I know that's what, but it's so true. And so it's very important to be clear for yourself, like, what am I really desiring? Why am I desiring it? And, what do I want to bring? And what can I give myself in order to really stand confident in who I am and be able to trust myself in relationships? So I hope that helps. That doesn't mean to tolerate bad behavior just because someone's a young soul. It's just to help you know that, he just may not be where you are, and that's okay. That's where he is. And it's also his journey to walk and for him to understand and to get clear on what he needs on his earth walk, if you want to call it that. Okay, let's see. Confused. Was the answer given the real answer? What? Can you rephrase that, Lindsay? I'm not sure I'm confused by your question. Can you rephrase that? Was the answer given the real answer? Was that in regards to the last video I just shared? I don't know. Can you help me clarify that, please? Okay, welcome everyone. If you're just joining, please drop your questions in the Q&A box. My lovely moderator is going to help me navigate all the questions. Okay. Wow, we got a lot of relationship stuff coming up. I will give you a hint, Junior. Don is older than myself. That was a quick one. Yeah. So anything related to who is Don will be answered in the next coming, the upcoming video, that's coming your way. The words weren't coming out. Okay. Let's see. Here, let's go to this one. Advice about moving past a tough part of life. Yes. So, darling, thank you so much for asking this question. First of all, I just want to say, like, you've made it here. You've made it through your darkest, hardest days. And I know when you're in that place, it feels like you're never going to get out of it. But remember, this too shall pass. All of us go through divine storms. Some last a little while, some last a long while. And they're all meant to teach us something and to teach us, valuable information and gifts to come out the other side of, and then have an understanding of and have compassion for and empathy for people who are also struggling with the same thing. My belief is that we go through all the stuff we go through in life so we can overcome it, come to the other side of it, stand powerfully in ourselves and in our knowing, and then help others do the same in whatever way we choose to and want to express it. So know that if you're going through a hard time, know that if you're going through a divine storm, know that it will pass. And to support yourself through that, it's really important to connect to things that, you know, have given you joy in the past, have really helped you shift out of that. And here's a really important piece. So especially to all my lady friends out there, dance. I don't care if you don't like to dance or move your body, move the energy. This is good for all people. Like, move the energy by moving your body. So dancing, roller skating, pick something you like and move the energy. Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to let it move through you and feel it. It's so important to feel your emotions and to allow them to pass through you. Because if we don't feel it, we can't heal it. So you gotta feel it to heal it. Yes, somebody said I should make a t-shirt out of that. But that's not the point. And the point is, it's temporary. This part of the journey, this part of the hard part is temporary. And so one of the things you can do to help shift yourself out of that is move. Another thing is take some time and start practicing gratitude. So gratitude and acknowledgments. So in my training as a certified fearless living life coach, gratitude is done a little bit differently than it is in kind of mainstream. So gratitude, if you focus on every day writing down, it helps to journal because it helps to really like get it into our minds and helps us kind of rewire that negative pattern, that negative thinking. So journaling is a great way to do this. So gratitude is outside of ourselves. It's finding things to be grateful for that are outside of ourselves. So you would start with a stem sentence that started off with, today I am grateful for. And then you want to put it in the positive. So you don't want to say like, today I'm grateful for not, I don't know, whatever something is, right? Today I'm grateful for not feeling sad. Okay, let's just say that. So you don't want to have that negative, you don't want the negativity in there. So you'd say something like, today I'm grateful for feeling a little better, or today I'm grateful for the sun, or today I'm grateful for whatever, right? Music or whatever that thing is. So one, writing down gratitudes for what you're grateful for that's outside of you. And then acknowledgements are really about you. Acknowledgements, you'd start something like this. Today I acknowledge myself for. And it's like you're giving yourself credit for the things you did well. Doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small. And if you do this and you practice that, even if you do it, try it for a week, right? Just write out, today I'm grateful for. Like three to five things you're grateful for, 3 to 5 things that you acknowledge yourself for. And you're going to start to notice like, and then dance or move, right? Move the energy, allow yourself to feel. You're going to start to feel like you're shifting out of that. Because what happens is we naturally, just as humans, kind of go to that kind of negative mind space. We go to that negative place. And so it's easy to get stuck there. It's easy to feel like you can't get out of it. But I assure you, you can, because I've been there, done that over and over and over again. And so start practicing some of these things. Those are just a few simple things you can do to really start shifting through a difficult part of your life, okay? And remember, just like there are seasons, like nothing lasts forever. There's always going to be a new cycle. We have death and rebirth constantly. And I'm not talking about an actual physical death. It can be an emotional death. It can feel like a death of like an old part of you. And there is a grieving process to that. But it's part of the spiritual journey. It's part of the awakening journey. And so know that it's totally normal. And you're going to be okay. Okay? Mwah. Okay. Where are we at? I hope you found that helpful. Okay, I know this one's been up for a bit. Oh, you are welcome. Oh, whoops. What's going on with me and Walter? At first I thought you said water, and I was like, well, you love it. Okay, Greenhouse Goddess. Okay, you and Walter. Let me just tune into you and Walter. The first kind of word that came to me was kind of toxic. I don't feel like this is a healthy match. I feel like there's, yes, there's relationships where you get triggered and you trigger each other and you're meant to heal these things. But then there are just relationships where like there's just this like unhealthiness to be together. Like, it's like you drive each other crazy. I feel like there's some putting each other down, or like one or the other, or maybe a little bit of both. And I just feel like it's kind of like rubbing. The analogy I'm getting, or like the visual I'm getting, is kind of like if you took like really hard sandpaper and just like scoured it into your hand. It's like, it feels like that, like very abrasive, very like hurtful, just like not a healthy relationship. And I feel like there's a lot to learn from it. I think there's things you can find that and have like gratitude and grace for it. I don't think it has to be this like big dramatic thing. I think it can just be like, I'm needing time for myself. I need to, to really, work through some of my own stuff. And I'm trying to find the right words to use here. And I feel like I just need space from this. And I feel like I have a feeling you're also very susceptible to energy. Like, you're very empathic. And so I feel like you're picking up on a lot of like negativity and just like kind of like, yeah, just like the inner turmoil that he's experiencing too. And it like kind of sets you off, and it's just back and forth. I see it as like a ping pong match between you two. But it's like, there's never any winners. Not that there needs to be winners in relationships, but there needs to be partnership. And I feel like there's no partnership. So, I think it's important to remember, like, you don't, there's never a need to settle for crumbs, right? To remember that when we give ourselves the love that we desire, we call in a match that's meant for us, and that's more aligned with us, and that's better suited in general. And it requires us each to do our own work, meaning it's our responsibility to come to the relationship. I'm not saying you got to have it all figured out and you got to be healed and all this stuff, but it is important, especially along, the journey of being human, to really understand ourselves, understand how we process, understand how we communicate, so we can then come to a relationship knowing how to communicate, knowing how not to be codependent, knowing how to have a healthy relationship. Many of us, not all, but many, don't understand or know how to be in a healthy relationship. It wasn't modeled for us. And even if it was, there could still be codependency. There could still be, these patterns that have played out through generation after generation after generation. And we grow up, we become adults, and we just model what we've seen. And then we search for love that we didn't get as a child from the parent we most wanted it from. And so it's really important to get clear for yourself, like, what's going on. So then you can come to the table or to a relationship and understand fully who you are and be confident in who that person is, and know, like, I'm not going to settle for breadcrumbs. Period. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. I know that was like, not a super fun message to get, but I want to be truthful in that you don't have to be in toxic relationships. Period. Nobody does. You just don't. And the more you can give yourself love and healing and understanding and compassion and grace, and go forward with this, like, knowing that you're going to be okay. And when it's time, in divine timing, you will find the person. You don't even have to look for it. And here's the thing I want to say, especially to all the ladies in the room. Remember, eggs don't chase sperm. Period. Sorry, kids, if there's any kids on here. But you need to hear this too. Eggs don't chase sperm. Flowers open up. Bees come to the honey. Come to the flower. You are not meant to be chasing down anybody. You are meant to be in your own being, in your own self, be confident in who you are and radiate, and you become magnetic. You don't even need to go chase anything. You're not meant to chase. That's not how it works. I know that's what we're taught, and we're taught you need to trick a man, be manipulative, be, all these things, but it's all wrong. You are a divine, sacred, feminine being, and a divine masculine, and this isn't about, this can work in same sex. It's about energy. It's about, drawing in that person, becoming magnetic, and that person will be attracted to you. It doesn't matter, what your sexual orientation or whatever is. It's about you becoming so magnetic that you draw in the things that you want, the things that you desire. You become radiant. You become the magnet. It's not about you going out and chasing things. No. Mm-mm. I hope you found that helpful. Let's see here. Okay. Let me see here. I just want to make sure that yeah, okay. I just know what the deal is with. Oh, you're welcome. Sorry, I just want to clear up some of the questions here so I know where I'm at. So many questions about relationships tonight. You guys are feeling it. Yeah, Junior, I'm going to address the dawn question. We'll call it the dawn in my next video. So hang tight. Thanks for being here. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Let's go to this one here. Did I cut the right people off? Okay. This is kind of a big topic, but I'll just give you some cliff notes. Okay. So here's the thing. Whether it's a relationship romantically or a relationship with friendships, family, whatnot, no one needs to tolerate bad behavior. Nobody. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's your dad. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your sister, brother, uncle, whomever. You don't have to tolerate bad behavior. Now, I understand some of you may still live with these people. That can be challenging, right? But this is a question I get quite often, is around, how do you deal with toxic people? So here's what I'd say to that. First off, the ones that you can let go of, right, that you just know are straight up toxic, you can just be done, right? It doesn't have to be this big thing. You don't have to say, I'm cutting you out now, right? It's just kind of this natural thing. Here's the other thing. As you raise your vibration, as you become more in tune with you, you will naturally see that some people fall away. And that's okay. Now, for the people who are in your life that are toxic, that you can't get away from so easily, it's important for them to have boundaries, right? To have boundaries and know what your boundaries are with them. And boundaries will change from person to person. There's going to be overlap, right, with some boundaries. For example, one boundary of mine is if you're going to come on my, my feed or my platform, I'm not going to tolerate abusive or bad behavior. Like that goes for anybody, period. Right? Okay, that's like a hard boundary. Then there are boundaries with specific people. Like if you have an uncle who's always, being inappropriate, like you're going to be very specific to that particular person about what your boundary is. And sometimes you don't know what your boundary is until someone's crossed it. But if you find yourself upset, if you find yourself triggered, if you find yourself mad, sad, disappointed, whatever, like there's probably a need for a boundary there. Okay? Now here's the other thing. If you have someone you have boundaries with, but they don't listen or adhere to the boundaries, then you have to really kind of ask yourself and look at, well, is there a consequence to this boundary, right? For example, if someone slapped me, right, I'm going to tell them like, hey, that's not okay. You do it again, I'm out. I'm never, whatever, right? I'm going to have a consequence to that boundary. So if there's no consequence, and if you're constantly coming back every time you say, no, you can't do that, no, you can't say that, that's not okay with me, I'm not feeling that, and then you keep coming back, well, you're teaching them and training them that like, hey, it's okay. Even if she says don't do it, or he says don't do it, I'm going to do it anyway. So there has to be a consequence to the boundaries that you're setting. So most people will respect your boundaries. And here's the thing. If you've been a people pleaser, I had most of my life, I was a people pleaser. And if you are a people pleaser and you're now teaching people how, now you've shifted and you're different in how you're allowing people to interact with you, right? Let's say, like I was a people pleaser most of my life. And then all of a sudden I started like going on this journey of self-development and personal growth and my spiritual journey. And I had my awakening and all these things. I started to change. I started to say, hey, no, that's not okay. No, you can't do that. No, this is no longer acceptable, right? And people don't like that at first because they're like, hey, wait, whoa, you've changed so much. Yeah, I would hope so. Like I've been alive for this long. I hope I change as I grow, right? As I age. People treat you the way you teach them to treat you. So it's really important to hold your ground with how you want to be treated. Same is true for how you treat other people, right? Treat people how you want to be treated. It's kind of like a kindergarten rule, right? But like, we don't all do it. So to answer your question, stone to the bone, did you cut off the right people? I think that, I think the question is, do I, how has cutting off these people shifted me? I think that's the question you want to ask. Do you feel more energized? Do you feel better about yourself? Here's the thing, especially, for example, if you're someone who struggles with body image, the best way to lose weight? Cut off all the people who have put you down. Like you'll drop hundreds of pounds immediately. Like it's so important to look at the relationships we have and how you feel being around this person. If you feel like drained, if you feel like they're sucking your life force energy, if you feel like they are hurtful every time you're with them, if you feel like you're always the one giving, like there's a reason for this. And it's for you to become aware of and then shift that relationship. And sometimes it requires a conversation and sometimes it requires walking away. So I ask you, how does it make you feel that you've cut these people off? How does it feel in your body? How does it feel in your energy? How does it feel in your mind? Like, how are you feeling about it? Because there can be feelings of guilt, like, oh, I cut these people off, right? Or, oh, these people left. And there can be a grieving period, and that's okay. But know that if you're not feeling good when you have interactions with people, that's probably a pretty good sign that these people are not your people. And trust that the people you want, as you grow, as you heal, as you become more confident in who you are, the right people will find you, and they will show up, and they will be there for you, and they will be there with you, and they will be able to meet you where you are. And it's not about everybody being perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect, okay? That's not how it works. But if people are like, if you literally are feeling like crap after you're spending time with someone, that's a good indicator that maybe this isn't the best person for you. And you can try having a conversation. You can try looking at, okay, what is it about being with this person that makes, that I'm feeling so bad, or that I feel so drained, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's about shifting the relationship. Sometimes, let's say you're a people pleaser and you're giving. Sometimes all it takes is for you to shift that and be like, no, well, I want to receive too, right? So sometimes it's having a conversation. Sometimes it's shifting a relationship just by you being different. And then sometimes it's just you having to walk away. And that's okay too. I hope you found that helpful. So I would ask the question for yourself, how do I feel since I've cut these people out? Because really only you know that. I mean, I can give you an answer, but I think it's more important for you to start feeling into, how do I feel around certain people, right? Do I feel good? Do I feel like this person contributes to my growth, or do they deplete my growth? Because here's the thing, for everyone listening, you are an accumulation of the top 5 people you hang out with. So if you're hanging out with people who don't make you feel too great, you're probably not going to feel great. So it's really important for you to start looking at your relationships. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they growth oriented? Are they looking and desiring and wanting to grow? Or are they just staying kind of stuck where they are? Are they staying in the same place? Do they have no interest in doing interesting and exciting and motivating things? Like, what are they bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? Relationships are a give and take. They're an exchange of energy. They're a giving and receiving. So does it feel like a partnership? Does it feel like a relationship? Relationships are about relating. Are you relating in your relationships? So, I hope you found that helpful. And thanks for the gifts, guys. Oh, is that a time check? Okay, thanks. Okay. Did I go too far? Just real quickly, stone to the bone, or did you go too far? I think, another thing to kind of check in with is how did you go about cutting these people off? Did it come from a place of, were you emotionally sober? Let me ask you that. It's so important to be emotionally sober before you have any conversation. I don't care if it's with a family member, with your loved ones, with a relationship. Make sure you're emotionally sober. So make sure you're not in a triggered state, that you're not in a state of rage or panic or anxiety, or, just make sure you're emotionally sober before you have conversations. Because sometimes when we're fueled or triggered, we can say things and do things that we don't mean. And if you did do that, I'm not saying you did, but if you did, it's easy. Get yourself in a good, solid, grounded state. So put your feet on the ground, ground your energy down, go step in some grass, or I know right now it's probably winter, where you are, but really ground your energy and yourself. And then when you feel good and calm, you've taken some deep breaths and you feel okay, I'm in my body, I'm feeling calm. Now I can go have a conversation. Sometimes it even helps to write it out. What do you want to say to this? What's your intention going forward for this conversation? What is your intention for this relationship? And then it's important to use nonviolent communication. So I feel blah, 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 right? Focusing on how you felt, not about what they did. Because that's one of the ways we come at relationships out of fear, is we like to blame other people. Well, you did this to me and you said that and whatever. And it's really important to look at what actually happened And what do we make it mean? That is huge. It's a really great thing to ask yourself. Like, what actually happened, right? Oh, well, they said this to me. Okay, they said that. But what did I make that mean about me, right? Because it's the meaning we apply to what happened that really gets us fired up and really kind of sets us spiraling. And then we like to blame and we shame and we guilt and we do all these things. And we're human. It happens. And we want to be better for ourselves, for the people we love, and even for the people we don't love. Like, we got to do better, you know? That's how the world gets better. We can't come at everybody from a place of hate and anger, and it doesn't work. We know that. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. So many questions. Okay. Oh, I helped my intuition. Oh, thank you. You helped my intuition so much. Yeah, so let me say something about this real quick. So, part of the reason I do these videos is to show you that you already know. You know the answers. You know the way. So yes, they're fun games, and yes, it's cool to see like, whoa, like I got that right. But my intention is much deeper than that. It's to show you that you've got this. Like, you are a soul having a human experience, and you know the way. You have the answers. And so I want you to take that and take it a step further. Continue to trust it. Continue to trust your intuition. Continue to build your confidence. Continue to use your intuition in your everyday life to let it guide you, because you are being guided. And so you are being led, and your soul is taking the lead if you allow it. But if we let the ego come in and the mind come in, and we let fear and doubt and all these things come in, like all the chatter, like that's what stops the flow. That's what stops us from following our intuition and trusting it. And over time, we start to kind of erode at our self-confidence, erode at our self-esteem and our self-worth. And my intention is to help build that back up and help you trust yourself and trust your intuition and see how magical and powerful you are, because all of you are. And even if you're not getting it right, know that like you are setting yourself up to allow these answers to come. You're working against a lot of conditioning and training around how to not trust yourself. So it's going to take a bit of time. It's going to take a little bit of practicing. It's going to take some allowing and surrendering, and to believe that you know the answers. Like, you know. So I'm so glad that this is helping you. One of my, deepest wishes is for everyone to love, accept, and know how amazing they are, so they can go out into the world and do good things. Because I think when we feel good, we do good. And I feel like when we know who we are, and we know and accept who we are, and we can express ourselves fully, like, we create magic. Like, we're magical, and we can create the lives we want to create. But it takes practice, and it takes patience. And so keep going. You're doing amazing, all of you. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I totally swiped the wrong way. Okay. Whoops. Sorry about that. That was just kind of another reply to that same question. Okay. Okay, Rick Loveland says, how do you trust the intuitive side so you have... I'm not sure what the rest of that question was. Let me see here. Oh, so you have clarity. Okay. Well, one, you keep practicing. You keep practicing trusting yourself. You can do it in your everyday life. Like, just kind of pay attention and to calm the mind down and to slow down and to, start taking steps towards listening to it more. So like when you're at the grocery store, see where you feel guided to. When you're, thank you so much. When you're just making decisions throughout your day, like just see how you feel. A really simple kind of thing you can do very quickly, just even if you're like in your car or you're in a bathroom stall or wherever, like if you don't want, people looking at you funny, just place your hand on your heart and take a deep breath and ask the question. Say, spirit guides, what is my next step? Show me clarity, show me the answer, whatever your question is, right? Like, don't make it super complicated. Just ask a simple question like, should I quit my job? Whatever, But here's the thing. Here's the tricky part, okay? The receiving part will come easy over time and practicing. The tricky part is to watch the mind and how the mind wants to come in and tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't do that. That's not logical. That's not practical. And a lot of times it's probably like someone else's voice in your head, like a parent or I don't know, somebody else, a friend or whatever. See, here's the problem. Like, we as humans look for validation in other people. So we're looking for everybody else to tell us the answer, even though we already know the answer. And you can tell this, you can just watch yourself. Like, let's say you want to quit your job, right? And you're like, oh, I really want to quit my job, but I don't know. And then you go to every friend that you have and say, so what do you think? I'm thinking about quitting my job. What do you think I should do? Right? And everybody has an opinion about what you should do, right? Or if you're like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and I really want to quit my 9-to-5 and I want to start making, I don't know, jelly bracelets. I don't know. Jelly bracelets? Okay. Just roll with it. Okay. But you're like, oh, I don't know. Can I really make money with that? Can I really do that? Like, what does that look like? I don't know. Can I be my own boss? Like all these questions, right? We'll start rolling. So then what do? Instead of getting quiet, getting calm and asking what's the next step from spirit and, tuning into our own knowing, we go and we ask everybody we know. Hoping we'll get the answer that we already know, but we're too afraid to say like, yeah, no, this is what I know and this is what I'm doing and that's it, right? So we'll go ask this person and that person and that person. And then the problem is everybody's got their own filter, their own way of viewing life, their own way of how they see the world and their own way of what they believe. So let's say you go to your Aunt Susie, who's never worked anything but a 9-to-5. And then she's like, no, you can't do that. You can't make a living, blah, 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 blah. And she's telling you all the reasons why you can't do it, right? So then that builds more evidence for your brain to be like, oh yeah, I can't do that. Like, that'll never work because Aunt Susie says so, right? And she clearly knows because she's never been an entrepreneur. Like, we go to the wrong people for the wrong advice. We need to first go within and trust our own knowing. So that's a great way to practice trusting your intuition. And then the other piece to it is we have to actually act on these things. So that's the part that's also scary for all of us as humans, is that we know what to do, but then we get freaked out or we talk ourselves out of it or we let other people talk ourselves out of it. And then over time it erodes our trust. And then we're like, well, I can't trust myself. I don't trust myself. I don't trust my intuition. We come up with more evidence. We're like always building evidence. And so it's really important to start watching the stories you tell yourself, right? What stories are you telling to build evidence against your case, right? To build evidence that, no, I can't do that. That's not possible. That's never going to happen. I don't know how, blah, 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 right? Like, what are all the ways that we tell ourselves that we can't do what we want and that we can't have what we want? And that it'll never happen. I'm going to be, here's the truth. We're afraid like, I'm going to be alone and dead and nobody will love me and I'll never make any money and I'll never have the life I want, right? So then we settle for less because we don't trust ourselves enough to know that there's this amazing epic journey, like all laid out for us, but we have to be brave enough to listen, to follow our intuition, and to go where we're being guided. And when we do, because I can speak from experience, a whole new world opens up and your life completely transforms. And here's the other piece to this that I think is really important. A lot of times we're so afraid to do the thing, even if we're like, yeah, I know this is it, I know. And we do it because we fear we won't belong anymore. Let that land for a minute. We fear and we don't do the things that we know we're being called to do because we're afraid that the people that are around us won't love us, we won't belong anymore, and we'll be alone and we'll die alone. That's what it really comes down to. We're afraid we're going to go broke, we're going to die alone, and we're not going to be able to be loved. Which are very like human needs, right? And so it prevents us from actually living the epic lives we're meant to live. And so I'm here to tell you and remind you how awesome you are, and to remember that you do know the way. The way. You will be guided. You are guided. And if you trust and have faith and you keep going and you keep listening and you keep practicing, more and more will be revealed. And over time, you get to build your trust muscle and see evidence of something completely different than what your mind wants to tell you. Like, I could tell you story upon story upon story about, I always think of it as like the cliff of life, right? It's like, I come to the cliff of life and Spirit's saying, okay, honey, it's time to jump, right? And I'm like, oh God, you know, I used to panic a lot, right? Not as much anymore because I've really spent a lot of time developing this trust muscle. But your guides are like pushing you to that cliff of life saying, okay, it's time, jump, right? And I'm not talking about blind faith. I'm talking about intuitively guided, inspired action, right? But we get scared and then we're like, oh, I don't want to go. No, you can't make me, right? And we like do everything we possibly can to avoid doing the thing we know we're meant to do. But once we take that leap and we take that jump and we, take that risk and we leave that job and we go for what we want to do or whatever it is. Apparently somebody needs to do that because it keeps coming up in this group. But we will be held and we will be supported and it will work. It may take longer than you want and that you hope for, right? And I feel like there's kind of two kind of, if I were to really narrow it down, I feel like there's kind of two types of people. There's those who like gently step into the pool, and then there's those that just dive in, right? Just cannonball in. I've always kind of been a cannonball kind of girl, like, so I'm not saying you have to do it that way. However, I am saying that the important thing is to listen, to allow, to tune into your intuition and to take the steps that you're being asked to take. And you're not going to have it all figured out, and you're not going to know what the whole plan is. And you're just meant to take the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And it's going to lead you and guide you to what is next. And then one day, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh damn, I just took 365 steps. And now look at where I'm at. And your whole life is going to, can look different. And in the most amazing ways. So, I hope that helped. So to gain clarity, you have to tune in, you have to listen, and you have to allow the answers to come and then take action on those answers. Okay. Let's see. Excuse me. I need some water. Let's go to Miss Katie here. Or Miss Caitlin. Caitlin? I think that's it. Okay, Miss Caitlin. I'm at a loss right now. What I need to do. I've talked about feeling lost before. I think what you mean is kind of like, where do I go next? Here's the thing. Sometimes when we're not getting answers, it means it's not time for answers. And I feel like for you, it's time to really just spend some time, honestly, relaxing. I feel like you're go, go, go all the time. And I feel like you're really driven. And like you've been spinning your wheels for a while. And I feel like it's important for you to kind of slow down, to kind of give back to yourself. And I feel like the more you connect to like your joy and your pleasure and the things that are exciting to you and the things that feel freeing and like loving to you are gonna help you get clarity around what's next for you. I feel like you're kind of at a standstill because you're meant to just be still and to allow yourself to relax and be where you are and let that be okay, right? So often we want to like get somewhere and hurry up and we forget to enjoy the journey. And that's what this is. Like this earth walk, this like spiritual journey is just that. It's a journey. There's no like final destination. It's like a constant evolution, a constant growth, a constant death and rebirth, of a shedding of layers, allowing, surrendering, receiving, moving forward, you know, like, and right now you're just in a season where you're meant to slow down a bit and tune in and see what really feels good to you and connect to the things that really excite you. So think back to childhood. What did you enjoy doing? Think back to even recently, like what has been fun for you? What like sets that little spark in you, right? And start connecting to that, because that's going to help you get back in the flow. I just feel like you're a little out of alignment, and that doesn't mean like a bad thing or anything like that. It just means that there's been some life that's gotten in the way of the flow, you know, of you being in the flow. And so when worry or doubt or fear or, you know, negativity or, you know, busyness comes in, when that kind of chatter and all that kind of tornado starts spiraling, that's a sign to like slow down, stop, get yourself grounded, and start connecting back to things that really feel good to you. And that's gonna get in your like playful, like I'm 4 again energy. Like the more you can connect to your play and to your delight and excitement, you're gonna get back into the flow, and then it's gonna be like, oh, I want to do this, right? And movement helps with that too. So I hope that is helpful. Thank you all for being here. Let's see. Yeah, new beginnings, giving birth, creating new light, ideas, future. Was that just kind of a statement, or do you have a question? But it is true. It's like the journey is all about like death and rebirth, and that's not like a bad thing. Let's see. Yeah, okay. What do you do when you want to be emotionally sober, but the anxiety of unresolved conflict? Where's the other part to this? It's like a 3-parter, so I have to find it. Where is it? What do you do when you want to be emotionally... Oh, for some reason the 3rd part... Oh, hinders your ability to cool down. Yeah, okay. So, thank you for the question. So to become emotionally sober, a couple things. So definitely like remove yourself from the situation as much as you can. Like go for a walk, get the energy moving, put on some headphones. If you're like really angry, you're pissed off, like throw on some, you know, some rage music or something that's, you know, has that kind of same match of energy, and like go punch something. Not people, okay? Very clearly not people, but like punch your pillow or scream into a pillow. Like anger is not a bad emotion. It's only bad if we're taking it out on other people. So allowing yourself to feel that emotion and express that, but in a healthy way. So punching a punching bag, going for a run or a walk, dancing, like rage dancing. There's this amazing practice called swamping by this woman, Mama Gina created it, or I don't know if she created it, but she talks about it in her book. And it's a practice of allowing yourself to feel feelings. So you can put 3 different songs on. You can put something that makes you, cry or sad, something that lets out the anger, and then something that's like joyful and happy. So you can play them in that order. You can dress up, get all like bougied out if you want to, like let it be a celebration, a ritual, and like let that energy move. A lot of times when we're feeling anxiety or sadness or depression or anger or all these things, it's like the energy is stagnant and kind of circulating in the same place or just kind of stuck. So it's important to move the energy. It's important to move the body so that you can get the energy out. So allowing yourself to dance, going for a run, punching some, like a punching bag or a pillow, or screaming into a pillow, like just allowing that energy to like escape you and to feel those feelings and allow them to pass through you is the first place to start. So letting yourself feel it, letting all that emotion get out until you're like exhausted from it. Like where you're like, okay, I feel like that's moved on, right? That's come through me. Like, okay, now where am I? Then you want to get really good and grounded, and you want to get clear for yourself. Like, okay, what really was bothering me about that situation? What really stuck with me? What really is hurtful? And what is it reminding me of, right? Because a lot of times, yes, somebody can say something or do something and it's triggering or it's upsetting. And a lot of times it can remind us of someone else or something else. So that is a sign that there's something else that needs addressing, something else to look at, something else to heal. And it's being brought up in that particular person. Not to say that person isn't doing something that's hurtful, harmful, or toxic, but it's to say that maybe they're just triggering something that is reoccurring, that comes up often, but you haven't recognized it yet as something that is from your past. Again, that doesn't mean that they didn't do something that was hurtful as well. That could be, but that's for you to explore a bit and to get clear on, so that when you're coming to the conversation again, very grounded, very emotionally sober, very centered, you can be very clear on what you want to communicate, what you want to say. Because when we're all fired up and we're all like enraged or sad or whatever, and then we try and communicate, it just re-triggers us and it just re-amplifies like how we're already feeling. Especially if we start coming to the conversation with like blame or shame or like guilting someone. If we're like, you did this to me, blah, 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 that's automatically going to put them on the defensive. And so what we really want is to be very clear on how it feels for us. I feel this way when this was said. Not like, you did this to me, I feel this way. Like, it feels very attacking that way, right? If I was like, you did this to me, and I can't believe you said that, and how dare you? Like, it feels like you want to protect yourself. So that's what happens, like, when we have these conversations with people. A lot of times we're coming at them with, like, blame or like, you suck, you did this, or whatever, right? And then they're like, whoa, 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 like, and they're trying to just protect themselves. So it's important for you to first allow that energy to move through you, get really clear on what you want to say or what's really going on there. Like, is it even about that person, or is it about someone else who did something to you back in the 3rd grade, or a parent or whatever? Like, be very clear on what is really true for you, right? So it kind of requires you to be a bit of a detective first and figure out, like, what is it about this thing that happened that has me so amped up, right? Or what is this reminding me of? Does this remind me of an experience? Does this remind me of someone else? Does this remind me of whatever, right? It's like we got to get curious as to our own process and our own way of relating to people. And then when you're really clear, oh, I feel hurt because of, this thing was said, then we can come from a more vulnerable and like gentler, more compassionate space for ourselves and then for the other person, and really actually get somewhere in the conversation. Because when we just come at each other and we're like on the attack and the defensive, like all that does is create more drama, more pain, more hurt, more resentment, like, and it goes on and on and on and on. So I hope that helped. Okay, let's see. What's up, babe? Oh, we're already at time. Holy moly. Okay, I'm going to do one more. If you have questions that didn't get answered, either put them in the Q&A on the feed or join me tomorrow. Same time, same place. Which one? This one here? Okay. Why do I feel pulled to be a mother? So I feel like it's a couple things. One, it's like kind of in our DNA, evolution. It's like, oh, we need to procreate so, the world doesn't end. So there's that. There's like a natural like desire to be a mother. Not everybody feels that way, but from a biological standpoint, like many of us have that feeling, right? We want to nurture something. We want to care for something. Secondly, I feel like in your particular case that there was maybe a lack of love in some form growing up from someone you really desired or wanted it from. And so that makes you feel really connected to that feeling of like, I want to give that to someone. I want to give that back to someone. And then I feel like there's another piece where I feel like you're just really kind and loving and nurturing in general. I feel like animals love you, babies love you. Like just you're just like one of those people that people are really drawn to. Babies and kids and animals are just really drawn to you. And so I think it's just like natural to want to reciprocate that to another little human, right? The thing I would say to you though is, for yourself to really feel good and solid in that choice. Like it is a choice and we all get to make that choice of whether we want it or not. And sometimes it's really confusing. Like I had a baby when I was 16. I got pregnant and then I had him at 17 and he's like 26 now. And I thought that's what happened. It was all over for me. And then I met this guy and now so you never know when that feeling is going to come back or when it's going to strike or, if it will. And here's what I'd say to you. It's, I just believe that like, children and babies just need to be marinated in love. So like for yourself, be at your highest, best self and frequency that you can just love on that little human and like give them everything you can possibly give them. And here's the thing, we are not raising children. They are not sheep, okay? Our jobs as parents is actually, and I wish I would have known this as a teenager, but I'm not going to beat myself up for it because I was where I was. But I just think of like how different it would be now for me to be a mom versus back then. I was a kid raising a kid, it was very different. But now it's like you're, as a parent, as a conscious parent, first of all, I would very much practice conscious parenting. So if you don't know about it, learn about it. And then the other piece is we are really, as parents, like anybody who's parents, our job is really for us to not raise them to be like mini us's or whatever. It's to help them navigate the world, yes, but also to help them understand and express who they are. There was like two conscious parents and they're raising this conscious child, but that's not what has happened many times. And if you are, consider yourself really lucky, okay? But a lot of times that's not what happened. A lot of times what actually happens is we've been raised by people who have experienced trauma, are living in fear or pain or hurt or resentment or all the things, right? Who were raised by other people who were also experiencing trauma and fear and all these things. And the cycle goes on. And so it's passed down from generation to generation to generation. And so when we become parents, we're just doing what we thought we should do, or trying to do better than what we thought our parents did, or whatever. And the way to actually like heal that cycle is for us to individually heal ourselves. And so it's our job to do the work on ourselves, to love ourselves, accept ourselves, to find appreciation and gratitude for ourselves, and to I think of like family trauma and ancestral trauma as like a big ball of yarn, right? That's how I'm seeing it. It's like a big ball of yarn and it's a whole big mess, right? You ever get your like headphones tangled up? Like it's maddening sometimes, right? It's like, why hasn't there been a thing invented? Yeah, it's called earbuds, right? But like, you pick up the thing or you pick up the ball of yarn, it's like this big ball of yarn, right? And it's just all tangled in mess. And it's our job to really go inward, to look at ourselves, to see like, what have I learned through my journey? Like what conditioning, what patterns, what stories, what fear, what beliefs, what all these things are that I have taken on as my own, that were passed down from my ancestors, that were put on me or placed on me. Do I even believe that? Is that really what I believe? I was taught that. I was shown that. That's what I was around. But do I really believe that? And it's our job to untangle that big ball. And it's our job to shed the layers of all the things that we've been taught that do not serve us, that are not serving us in relationships, that are not serving us in our path, in our journey. And to come to a place of understanding and healing and understanding how magnificent we are, so that we can then trust ourselves and feel confident in our journey and our path. And then we, help support new little humans in life to come into the world if that's what we choose to do. But we get to be the example of what's possible. But until we do that work, until we're willing to feel that or look at that or heal that, we keep playing out these same stories, these same patterns over and over and over again. So, to get back to your question, I feel like, yes, you are pulled to do that. And I would say, first, look at and explore for yourself as much as you can. How can I give to myself? How can I peel back the layers of all the stories and all the things that I have been told and I really don't believe? And how can I then bring myself to a place of joy and of, be of the highest frequency that I can to bring life into the world? Because if you're coming from a place of, a lower vibe, if you will, it can be more difficult to bring life into the world. It can be more difficult to have a healthy baby come into the world. So you want to make sure that you're just really pouring into you, and that you are, calling in a soul, a being in, at the highest vibration that you can possibly be in. So, I know that was a really long way to answer that, but there it is. Whoop, there it is. Okay, thanks, honey. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Again, if I didn't get to your question, know that I love you, see you, and please put your question in the Q&A. I'm going to be responding to videos here and there as I can. And then also I'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Central Time. So if you have questions, let me know. And, just come on in and start asking right away so that I can get to your question, as quick as possible, because a lot of people come in and out or join these. And so I get a lot of questions. And then when I'm channeling too, it's, sometimes I can make it real short. And then sometimes it's like, there's clearly a message that needs to be shared, for someone in the group. And really all of these questions will support everyone. As long as you're open to hearing what's being said. So I trust that whatever was shared tonight was meant to be heard by the people who are still here. So thank you for sticking around. Thank you for being here. I'm sending you so much love, and I look forward to seeing you soon. And be sure to come back and